Imagine waking up every day feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Your eyes are heavy, your brain's foggy, and you're already counting the hours until you can crawl back into bed. That was me not too long ago. I'd stumble through my mornings, chugging coffee like it was my lifeline, only to crash hard by noon. Energy? What's that? I felt like a phone with a dying battery stuck at 10% no matter how much I tried to recharge. Then I stumbled across something called MitoThrive, a supplement from ClickBank that promised to flip the switch on my energy levels. Not just a little boost, but a real deep down change. I was skeptical. I mean, how many times have we all heard big promises from a bottle of pills? But I was desperate enough to give it a shot, and today I'm spilling the beans on what happened, my real before and after story with MitoThrive. So what's this MitoThrive stuff all about? Picture your body like a car. You've got an engine inside every single cell. Those are your mitochondria. They're the powerhouses that keep you running, turning food into fuel so you can get through your day without feeling like a zombie. But here's the kicker. As we get older, or when life throws stress and bad sleep our way, those engines start to sputter. MitoThrive claims it's like a mechanic for those engines. It's supposed to tune them up, crank up the horsepower, and get you firing on all cylinders again. The pitch, more energy, sharper focus, even a little anti-aging magic. Sounds like a dream, right? I thought so too, but I wasn't sold yet. I needed to see it for myself. Now, let me take you back to why I even bothered with this in the first place. I'm not some health nut who's already got everything figured out. I'm just a regular person who was tired of being tired. My days were a slog. I'd drag myself out of bed, barely make it through work, and by the time I got home, I had nothing left in the tank. Forget hitting the gym or playing with my dog. I was lucky if I could keep my eyes open for a movie. Coffee was my crutch, but it was like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Sure, it gave me a quick jolt, but then I'd crash harder than ever. I knew something had to change. I couldn't keep living like a half-dead version of myself. That's when MitoThrive caught my eye. It wasn't just another caffeine pill. It was promising something deeper, something that might actually fix the root of the problem. So I said, why not? And decided to put it to the test. Here's how it went down. I grabbed a bottle of MitoThrive. Pretty standard stuff, just a couple capsules a day with water. The instructions were simple, which I liked because I'm not here for complicated routines. I didn't overhaul my whole life for this either. My diet stayed the same, pizza nights included, and I didn't suddenly turn into a marathon runner. The goal was to see if MitoThrive could do the heavy lifting on its own. I started popping those pills every morning, keeping a little notebook to jot down how I felt. No fancy science experiments, just me paying attention to my own body. I figured if this stuff was legit, I'd notice something, good or bad, within a few weeks. Let's talk about where I was starting from. Before MitoThrive, my energy was a solid 3 out of 10. Mornings were the worst. I'd hit snooze 5 times, then stumble to the kitchen like I was auditioning for a zombie movie. Work was a battle to stay focused. I'd stare at my screen, pretending to be productive, while my brain was off in la-la land. By afternoon, I was toast. I'd grab a coffee or an energy drink, but it was like throwing a match into a wet campfire, barely a flicker before it fizzled out. Physically, I felt heavy, like I was carrying an extra 20 pounds of exhaustion everywhere I went. It wasn't just about being tired, it was about feeling stuck, like I was missing out on life because my body couldn't keep up. That was my before, not pretty but real. Fast forward to the good stuff. What happened after I started taking MitoThrive the first few days? Honestly, not much. I wasn't expecting miracles overnight, but I'll admit I was a little antsy for a sign. Then about a week in, something shifted. It wasn't like I turned into Superman, but I woke up one morning and didn't feel like death warmed over. That was new. I made it through my coffee ritual without feeling like I'd collapse without it. By week 2, the change got real. I had this steady hum of energy, not jittery, not fake, just there. I'd get through my workday without that mid-afternoon slump. One day I even caught myself whistling while I did the dishes. Whistling. Who does that when they're exhausted? By the end of week 3, I was sold. My energy climbed from that measly 3 out of 10 to a solid 7, maybe even an 8 on good days. I wasn't dragging anymore. Mornings felt doable. Still not my favorite, but I could handle them without cursing the sun. I started skipping my afternoon coffee because I didn't need it. Physically, I felt lighter, like someone had taken that exhaustion backpack off my shoulders. I even took my dog for an extra long walk one evening. And instead of crashing after, I still had juice to watch a show without dozing off. That's the after I'd been chasing. It wasn't perfect. Some days were still tougher than others, but it was a night and day difference from where I'd started. Now, let's break it down, what I loved about MitoThrive and what I didn't. The pros are easy. That steady energy, gold. No jitters, no crash, just a smooth lift that stuck with me. It was like upgrading from a rusty old bike to a smooth riding car, same trip, way better ride. Taking it was a breeze too. Just a couple capsules, no weird powders or shakes to mess with. And the focus? I didn't expect it, but my brain felt sharper, like someone turned up the brightness on a dim screen. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The cons? It's not cheap. If you're on a tight budget, that price tag might sting a bit. Also, it took a solid week to kick in. Nothing instant here, so if you're impatient, you might get antsy. And once or twice I felt a tiny stomach rumble after taking it. Nothing major, but worth mentioning. Overall, the good outweighed the bad for me, but it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. So, is MitoThrive worth it? Here's my take. For me, it was a game changer. Going from barely scraping by to feeling alive again, that's huge. It delivered on the energy promise. And then some. If you're like I was, tired of being tired, sick of quick fixes that don't last, this could be your ticket out. It's not about turning you into an Olympic athlete overnight. It's about giving you back the juice to live your day on your terms, not exhaustions. But if you're expecting a magic pill that works in 24 hours, or if every penny counts right now, you might need to think twice. For me, the results tipped the scales. I'm not going back to that zombie life if I can help it. Here's where you come in. If you're curious about MitoThrive, if you're wondering if it could do for you what it did for me, don't just take my word for it. Check it out yourself. I've dropped a link in the description below where you can grab it straight from ClickBank. No fluff, no hassle, just the real deal. Click that link, see what it's about, and decide if you're ready to ditch the fog and feel the fire again. Because trust me, once you taste that difference, you won't want to settle for less. Looking back, I almost didn't try this. I almost let that skepticism keep me stuck in the same old rut. But taking a chance on MitoThrive turned out to be one of the best calls I've made in a while. It's not about some crazy transformation story you'd see on a late-night infomercial. It's simpler than that. It's about waking up and feeling like you again. Not a drained half version of yourself, but the real you, ready to take on whatever's ahead. That's what I got out of it. Maybe you will too. The proof's in the pudding, or in this case, the pills. I tested it, lived it, and now I'm sharing it. The rest, that's up to you. So there you have it, my MitoThrive before and after journey, laid out plain and simple. From slogging through days like a ghost to buzzing through them with energy I hadn't felt in years, this little supplement surprised me in the best way. It's not a cure-all, and it's not for everyone, but for someone like me who just needed a push to get back in the game, it hit the mark. I'd love to hear what you think. Have you tried something like this? Are you tempted to give MitoThrive a whirl? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and I'm pumped to chat about it. And if this story clicked with you, give that like button a tap. It means the world. Oh, and don't forget that link in the description. Click it, check out MitoThrive, and see if it's your next step to feeling alive again. Until next time, keep pushing, keep thriving, and I'll catch you soon with more real talk like this.